Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast, powered by Riverwind Casino. My name is Brandon Drumm and Parker Thune. On the other screen, on the other voice, whatever you got going on here. And there is so much to talk about. It's crazy. Parker. Joe C., 28 years, the longest tenured AD in college sports right now.
I haven't even been alive that long, Brandon. The last time Oklahoma was searching for an AD, I wasn't even a thought yet.
I was a sophomore in high school, so that was a long time ago. I'm not that old, but it seems like a long time whenever you put it in, perspective like that. It does seem like a long time. Wild times in Oklahoma athletics, never a dull time, but again, distinguished career, just one of the greats when it comes to all-time athletic directors in college sports history. Gonna do his retirement presser tomorrow as we record this on a July 7th, Monday, July 7th. It'll be July 8th, 9 a.m. that he goes in front of everybody with Joe Haraz and a couple of other, I believe, Board of Regents members. And I believe Randall Stevenson, potentially, is he going to be at that presser as well, if I remember correctly, through the email? Don't quote me on that. But regardless, big news in the Oklahoma athletics world. And then as we record right now, we're working on a special guest to potentially come on here with us. We're hoping, fingers crossed. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, it does. He's got a lot of things going on. Four-star on 3 Rivals 200 tight end out of the state of Indiana, out of the Hoosier State. Tyler Ruxer just committed to the University of Oklahoma. So a lot of big news happening. And, of course, College Football 26 dropped today. So there is a ton of things going on in the world of college football as we move forward towards the SEC Media Days and fall camp. But before we talk all of that, Parker, let's thank some sponsors.
Yes, we need to get the bills paid, and Riverwind Casino is, of course, our presenting sponsor here on the OU Insider Under the Visor podcast. Riverwind Casino has been the premier gaming destination in the OKC metro area for almost 2 decades now. Nearly 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars, and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time, conveniently located off I-35 and Highway 9. Also want to give a shout to Jana King, the greatest team to ever clean, and a proud partner of OU Athletics, delivering spotless results from stadiums to any size business across the country. Check out which of their solutions is best for you or your business by going to janaking.com. And finally, if you spend a lot of time outdoors, as many Oklahomans do, I myself do, you're going to want to get yourself a pair of Brunt work boots. Folks, if you are not familiar with Brunt, they are revolutionizing the footwear space among working men. The Marin boot is lightweight, waterproof, slip and oil resistant, heat resistant, electrical hazard rated. Folks, it's got you covered in all conditions when you're outside working in the mud or the rain, the heat, whatever it may be. Here's the kicker, though. The boot is also really comfortable. You don't have to sacrifice comfort for productivity with your work boots when you grab the Marin boots from Brunt Workwear or any pair of boots from their fantastic line. The best-selling Marin work boots are not only built for the toughest job sites, they're completely waterproof. And I mean completely. I can speak to this firsthand. So whether it's rain, mud, or standing water, your feet stay dry. All of Brunt's boots carry the names of real workers in the trades who test and inspire them as well, which is a pretty cool little detail. So Brunt was tired. Look, Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better, boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners are going to get $10 off at Brunt when you use code OU Insider at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code OU Insider, and you're good to go. And after you order, they'll ask where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor and tell them it was our show.
Yes, and finally, we want to thank our sponsor, Refine You Med Spa in Oklahoma City. It has been voted the top med spa in all of Oklahoma City by 405 magazine for the last 6 years. Achieving a healthy weight can be challenging to do on your own, but you're not alone. The skilled team at Refine You Med Spa offers treatments that complement weight loss goals and long-term weight loss support, so you achieve a weight that supports good health and self-esteem. You can achieve your ideal look and feel with Refine You state-of-the-art practices that offer a diverse selection of aesthetic treatments, providing services that benefit every body shape and skin type. Whether you have sunspots, whether you have a mole, skin tags, whether you have scars, whether you have stretch marks, they can help you remove all that. They can also help you get on a nutrition plan. They can help you do whatever weight loss treatment that you want to do. They do all of that. They do laser treatments. They do Botox, lip filler, everything. Men, if your wife, your girlfriend, you want to give them something special, they enjoy that type of thing. They enjoy the lip filler, the Botox, the dermabrasion, all of that, the eyebrows, everything that a woman enjoys as far as aesthetic looks, whether it's face, body type, and your wife, your girlfriend, they've been asking for that. Refine You Med Spa is the place to do and go. All you have to do is call Refine You Med Spa today for a free consultation at 405-849-5391 or go to refineyouokc.com. All right, Parker, let's get after this. Joe C. I talked to Jesse and I gave my thoughts. So obviously you probably did yours on KREF, but those that did not hear your initial thoughts on KREF, let's break it down. What was your initial reaction to all this and your initial thoughts moving forward?
Yeah, well, I think my thoughts are twofold. On the one hand, it has to be acknowledged that Oklahoma is far better for having had Joe Castiglione as
Facts.
athletic director these last 28
Mm-hmm.
years. The athletic department as a whole is in a way better place than it was when he showed up in the spring of 1998. He's leaving OU better than he found it, and that is
Mm-hmm.
unquestioned. I know he's caught some flack in recent years for hires and the priorities or lack thereof that align with the desires of certain fans and certain contingents of fans. But how many, and this was pointed out to me earlier today when I was on the radio by a listener, how many athletic directors get to walk away from a university of their own accord? How many get to retire as opposed to being shown the door, especially at a place like the University of Oklahoma? He's a legend and should be regarded as such. Now that said, I guess the flip side of this is that I do think it was a good time. I think the timeline makes sense. The timing of this transition is an understandable and a good one, I think, for the program and for all involved, because Joe Castiglione has seen Oklahoma through the transition to the SEC, which obviously he was, I'm not going to call it his brainchild, but he was prominently involved in, he and obviously Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte in executing the early stages of that transition, laying the foundation for it. Obviously, we all found out that news in July of 2021, and over the next 3 years, everything Oklahoma did was designed to gear up for the SEC and SEC competition. And so he oversaw that transition start to finish from July of 2021 to July of 2024. He's now been on the job a year since Oklahoma entered the SEC as its 15th or 16th member institution, depending on how you want to look at it. And I think after 27, 28 years in charge, however, whatever you want to call it, he's been on the job since 1998, 27 years, 28 seasons. I think with the move to the SEC, it provides a very natural juncture for someone with new philosophies and a new vision and new aspirations to step in and lead this program into the new era of college football. And that's not to say that what Joe Castiglione did or how he operated or all of his philosophical principles were aged or obsolete or anachronistic or whatever you want to call it. But I do think that it is an understandable juncture for Oklahoma to turn over the leadership at the absolute highest level in the administration and make room for an athletic director that can kind of spearhead whatever the next phase of Oklahoma athletics looks like. And it's going to be different. It is. There are probably non-revenue sports that are going to get eliminated. There's going to be a lot more of a focus on fundraising in the years ahead because you're going to have to keep the machine churning. You're going to have to expand your NIL payroll. You're
Yep.
going to have to keep things robust in that department. And so the job of an athletic director in 2025 is so far removed from what the job of an athletic director was in 1998 when Joe Castiglione took the job. I do think it is a good time and it is the right time for somebody that perhaps has a different skill set, different priorities, just a different way of going about their business to take the reins and lead the charge for Oklahoma into whatever the next phase of Oklahoma athletics in the SEC looks like. And it is nice that Joe C is going to be right there as athletic director emeritus, at least for the next 3 years, to have a hand in all of it. So he's not going to be completely removed from the operation.
So that last part, he's the next 3 years, he's going to be kind of the AD emeritus type deal where he's not going to be full time, but he's going to be standing there as kind of the right hand man to whomever they decide to offer the job to, or whoever takes the job, right? Does that not, and I understand Randall Stevenson's leading the charge as far as the search committee, right? Like, we get all that. But does that not kind of lean towards a younger, more progressive type of AD, that so that Joe C can be there in other manners and matters to make them kind of balance it out and learn why he did things his way, and kind of allow the new AD to be more balanced and maybe not
Well,
overly aggressive, but maybe, does it not kind of feel that way? Because a lot of times that you retire and you step away completely.
yeah.
He's kind of phasing himself out.
Well, I think it's kind of similar to what Bob Stoops did in so many ways. Like Bob Stoops has remained on staff with Oklahoma as, I don't know, special advisor. I forget what his exact I got
Yeah, but that
completely
was
tongue
more
twisted
of
there.
a
Like
kind of a fundraising role, though, wasn't it?
for Stoops, well, the
Yeah.
point I'm trying to make though is that Stoops's role with the program for the most part is pretty nominal. I mean, you don't see him around the program. You don't feel him around the program a whole heck of a lot. Obviously, his name is still synonymous with the program and he's still at games up in the booth and all of that, but you don't get the sense that Bob Stoops is I guess has his hands in the barrel in a terribly active sense. And I would imagine the same will be true of Joe Castiglione. Is he going to be imparting wisdom to whoever the next AD is? Sure, I'm sure he'll be weighing in, but I don't know whether the next AD is going to be taking cues from Joe Castiglione as to how he went about his job for 27 years. Because, as I mentioned, I just think everything has changed so much in the landscape of college athletics that the things Joe Castiglione did for so many years probably aren't terribly applicable to the challenges that are going to face Oklahoma in the years to come. And so you're going to need somebody forward thinking. You're going to need someone who's not afraid to stray from tradition and buck trends. And I would imagine it's probably going to be someone younger, someone with a bit of a different background. The sense I get, and obviously this search is going to play out over the course of months, so who knows what we're
Yeah.
feeling on this by September, October. But the sense I get is it's probably not going to be someone with a traditional background in collegiate athletics. It's not going to be a long time administrator. Now, I could be dead wrong, and Oklahoma could go hire Michael Alford or Zach Selman or somebody that has been around at Oklahoma and been in collegiate athletic departments for years and years and knows how everything works. But I think there's a very real chance, if we're just taking a cue from what Randall Stevenson did with the hire of Jim Nagy and what the Brain Trust at OU did with the hiring of Jim Nagy, I think the lesson that we learn from that is that Stevenson and Joe Harris are not afraid to go outside the box with their next AD hire. And so the predictable hires are guys like Selman and Alford. But I'm not totally convinced the next athletic director isn't somebody that has failed to appear on anyone's hot board today, just because it's not somebody that's on anyone's radar at this moment. It might be someone from outside the collegiate athletics landscape entirely.
What I guess. What about Kirby Hocup? Just and I get where you're going with the no
Yeah.
the outside.
Are you leaving
And look,
Texas Tech right now if you're Kirby Hocup?
I get that, but I also know his relationship with Joe C's super tight. They were really close throughout their Big 12 days. Um, he leaned on Joe C quite a bit in his early years as an athletic director. He played for Bob Stoops. He played for and alongside Brent Venables. So there's a deep relationship there as well. But and I also understand the athletic department is far greater of a reach than just football. So it starts and stops there with Oklahoma, outside of just his relationship with um, Joe C, Brent Venables, and Bob Stoops. But I, I would love that hire if I was an OU fan at this point. I think you would have to love that hire. But I kind of agree. I I brought up like why not if you're Randall Stevenson, why not just name yourself? You have an understanding of how to run these things. You're already deep in the weeds with OU athletics as it is on the NIL, the the profit sharing and the salary cap and all that. Like you've been in the collective side, you've been in the fundraising side, you've done everything for Oklahoma. You ran AT&T and you did it well. Not just ran it. You created what AT&T today was on the back of Randall Stevenson. So why wouldn't you just name yourself kind of a interim for a while and let this thing play out for a bit and not have to rush into that hire? Even over
You're
the
not
next few
rushing it
months,
right
like
now as it is.
I get it. I get it. You have the emeritus title and all that type of stuff. But I'm saying like you can push that even further with that type of, you know, hire or having him run the athletic department alongside Josie. He's been as has he not been doing it anyways?
That he's been very prominently involved, yes, but I guess my question would be how long do you need? Because Joe Castiglione is going to serve as AD up to potentially the end of the academic year. So it could be until next May, in theory,
Can I
before he hands it off. So, like, with a
well
potential 10-month timeline, I don't think Oklahoma's rushing this as it is.
well here's where my head's at on this, and this is why I asked the question. And I'm thinking more broad scope here. We have no freaking idea how this thing's going to turn and what turns are going to take. How many lawsuits are going to go about with everything that's going on down the line with the profit sharing deal? We have no idea. You have somebody that's already in it. It until you know exactly where this thing is headed, you really don't know the type of person you need to hire. You see what I'm saying?
I
Like
guess.
you're creating a problem and potentially adding another if you hire there's always the chance you could hire the wrong person no matter what the situation is. And I get it. But as wide open and as open ended as this whole movement is moving forward with college athletics, man, this is a tough situation to be in. Because if you hire the wrong guy, it could be far greater of an issue than at any other point in history.
No doubt.
You see where I'm coming
But
from?
yes, you also have another safety net, though, and that is the reality that Joe Castiglione is staying on as AD Emeritus for another 3 years. And so you don't necessarily have to commit to a given athletic director in the long term. I mean, no athletic director is going to come to the University of Oklahoma and sign a 1 year contract. I mean, what Philip Seymour Hoffman said in Moneyball about 1 year contracts pretty much holds true across all professions. But you can sign your next AD to a 3 year contract, something reasonably congruent with Joe Castiglione's tenure to come as AD Emeritus. And if things aren't working out, you feel like, oh, this guy isn't actually suited for the challenges that the evolving landscape of college athletics is going to present, then we can pivot. We can go another direction. But I think there are going to be enough qualified candidates in the mix and probably enough candidates that have been sourced by Randall Stevenson and Joe Harris, even if they're not uh, beating down the doors trying to get an interview for the job. I think the allure of a brand like Oklahoma is that you're going to be able to attract enough top tier candidates that you'll be able to make a reasonably confident hire, whoever that may be, with the understanding that, hey, this is a person that's going to have to shepherd us through some unprecedented times in collegiate athletics, and they're going to have to be ready for whatever pitfalls might lie along the road ahead. And
Yeah,
ultimately, who is going to be completely prepared for a future that is so
nobody.
uncertain? Nobody. So you hire the guy that you feel is best for the role or gal that you feel is best for the role and let the chips fall where they may.
That was very, very progressive of you to do that there, Parker. I
Well,
like
I
it a
mean,
lot.
like there are women athletic directors all over the
I
world.
know, I know, I know, but I just thought it was funny. You like caught yourself or gal. So, um, yeah. Look, this is gonna be. It's gonna be. It's not gonna be as hectic as the head coaching search was. That was just utter insanity at the time. I don't think we will ever have another search quite like that because of just the circumstances and the the
And the abrupt
spontaneity.
nature
Yeah,
of
the
it.
spontaneity of just how
Like,
that
let's be
happened.
honest, if Brent Venables gets fired, it's probably
Nobody's
going to be something that we have a few weeks advance notice. Okay, like this is probably coming. When When again are you going to experience at the University of Oklahoma a head coach just abruptly dropping everything and shipping out of town on a Sunday afternoon out of nowhere?
Yeah, I think that Barry Switzer was like the last time that ever really happened when it kind of shocked everybody that he decided he was just going to step down. But again, that wasn't they quickly hired Gary Gibbs at the time. This was like bam, nobody was prepared for that.
Yeah.
They had been preparing for Barry Switzer at the time. What we talk about like the dropping of other sports, and
Hmm.
you and I have a few in mind that potentially could go down the line, and don't want to really dive into like the timeline or anything on that potentially. But do you think fans are going to look at that as, oh no, OU's broke, or do you think they're going to look at it as everybody else is doing it
Yeah,
as
I
well?
mean that's
Like
what it
they're
is.
cutting. Yeah.
I think it's inevitable at this point. I don't see how all of OU's current non-revenue sports can survive in the long term. I think there will be some that the athletic department chooses to preserve, and there will be others that get eliminated because anything that's not making you money is costing you money. And
Hmm.
Oklahoma has a lot of sports right now, as most every athletic department in the country does, that is costing them money.
Yep.
More often than not, football revenue, football revenue, excuse me, subsidizes the athletic department
Hmm.
to a to a large extent. And so as more and more athletic departments become aware of the reality that they're going to have to keep feeding the football machine if they want to stay afloat and remain competitive in that sport, which is the sport that at 90% of institutions at the FBS level, the fan base cares the most about. I mean, a few exceptions would, I guess, be like the basketball schools, Syracuse, North Carolina, Duke, etc. But for the most part, people care the most about football, and they're going to want to see success in football. And obviously, it is in a university's best interest to be successful at football because that creates a financial windfall. Other sports are going to get cut. They're going to become casualties of this shifting dynamic across the landscape of college athletics where football is becoming more of a priority than ever before because it is the biggest driver of revenue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting time. It's unfortunate, and we say this all the time. It's really unfortunate for the college athletes in those non-revenue sports that do it for the love because that's what they enjoy. They didn't ask for this NIL. They didn't want it. They just wanted to go to college and be able to continue competing and working at their sport and their craft that they've enjoyed the majority of their life. And I'll never say that being paid as an athlete is a bad thing because I don't think it is. Um, I think it's well warranted, but the fallout of all of this has been a 12-year issue since what's his face? I forgot his name for UCLA.
Ed
Um,
O'Bannon.
Ed O'Bannon, yeah. And it really upsets me because he was one of my favorite players too when he was playing for UCLA back in the day. Uh, Filed that lawsuit, and it's been an ever changing landscape. Speaking of players that want to continue to play, we're still kind of waiting to see if Tyler's going to be able to. He's at his commitment ceremony right now, so it's hit or miss. Yesterday, he thought he was going to be able to do it. So, but we told him if he can't, it is what it is. So we'll see how this goes. But um, Oklahoma landed a huge commit as we record this, not 45 minutes ago, in 2026, 4-star, top 200 on the On Three Rivals list rankings. Tied in Tyler Ruxer. Oklahoma gets their tight end, and you talked about this the other day, Parker. All the hate Joe John gets, Joe John Finley gets. This dude is landing dogs in this class.
I mean,
Just
you can make the
dudes.
argument right now, and I don't know what it'll look like at the end of the cycle. You can make an argument right now that Joe John Finley has the strongest class of any assistant on the Oklahoma staff right now. There's a legitimate argument to be made that between
Very
Ryder
true.
Mix and Tyler Ruxer, Joe John's got a better class than anybody.
It's true. It's crazy. Um, all the vitriol that's been slung his way, man, and he's he deleted his Twitter. Um, and I've asked him about that. Uh, and he just said didn't need it.
Yeah, I mean
Just it
it's a
was it
cesspool
wasn't
of
it wasn't a
negativity.
happy thing for him. So he got rid of it and he said he's been better off for it. Just and he's actually recruiting better now that he got rid of it, which is just a wild thing to think about. Um it seems like it's helped him quite a bit. Yeah, that tight end class, man, it could be pretty good. It's gonna be really good when they get that thing lined out. That tight end room, I mean, I think that's where this goes. Still a big question mark this year. But I think next year in 26, it could become a position of, you don't want to say strength, but definitely not one that you sit around and go, are they going to be any good? Because I think they are. They're going to be pretty good at that position moving
Mhm.
forward. I think this might be the last year that there may be some questions there. And I don't think it's going to be bad this year. But to add Tyler Ruxer to Ryder Mix already, I mean, you're getting guys. They're not very dissimilar from each other as far as skill sets go at
No.
all. So you can see Oklahoma has a type, right? What is your of all the things Oklahoma's getting in Tyler Ruxer? What do you think the biggest deal is going to be for him in Oklahoma moving
I think
forward?
it's the reality, and to speak to the similarity between him and Ryder Mix, it's the reality that he is a do everything guy, just as Mix is.
Yep.
They are two guys that you can line up legitimately anywhere, and they're going to be a threat in every aspect of the game. And so you see tight ends that are one-trick ponies. You see guys that are field stretchers. You see guys that are blocking tight ends. Uh, these two dudes can do anything that is asked of them. And
Mm-hmm.
so that makes figuring your personnel less difficult. When you have two guys, you can plug them into the game in any personnel package, in any situation, and they're going to be able to create problems for the opposition, whether as blockers or as pass catchers. And so that, I think, is what gets me most excited about this haul for Joe John Finley in 2026. It's that you got two guys that, and we talk about especially in the backfield, the nature of guys complementing each other well, right? You may have a speed guy and you may have a power guy. These are two dudes that you can just tell them to go, and they'll go. You can have them on the field at the same time. You can roll with one or the other. Having two athletes of that caliber and having two athletes of that ilk at the tight end position is going to afford Oklahoma and Ben Arbuckle a lot of options as to how
Mm-hmm.
they tailor and fine tune their offense in years to come.
Mismatch nightmares. That's all I can sit here and think about. Is just you got to think about a safety or linebacker that are just going to be stuck on, or just an extra corner every now and then that's going to be stuck on Tyler Ruxer and Ryder Mix lined up in the slot, right? Or the inside receiver. That's going to be a problem. It's everything that you thought Bauer Sharp was going to be, and he probably will end up being for LSU. But they're going to be able to, Ben Arbuckle will be able to scheme it correctly. I think that is the biggest takeaway that I get from all of this. And it also doesn't hurt having John Mateer and a second year Michael Hawkins,
No.
or this year. I'm talking about this year with the tight ends, or a second year John Mateer at Oklahoma and a third, well, I guess Michael Hawkins, or either or a third year Michael Hawkins. Because if you get one, if one stays, the other one's gone. It's just, it's just that's a given. If Mateer returns, Hawk's gone. That's just reality. And who could blame you? But um, that was a huge get for Oklahoma in 2026. But they're not done. They're not done. They're far from done. How many commits is that now? What is that?
15.
15, 16, 15, 15. Um, what is today's date? The 7th as we record this.
7th of July.
Yeah. So who's announcing on the 11th? There was one on the 11th and then
Jordan Clay is announcing on the 11th.
I'll talk about Jacob Eberhart on the 12th. You talk about Jordan Clay, 4-star wide receiver. On the 11th. Let everybody know kind of where that thing stands.
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. Two-team race, two-horse race right now for Jordan Clay, the talented wide receiver out of San Antonio. 4-star kid, top 100 player in the 2026 cycle. It's OU and Baylor. I mean, that's what it boils down to. OU's had some momentum. They got the last OV, and they've been able to keep that surge going over the last couple of weeks. Is it going to be enough to push them over the top and supplant Baylor as the lead dog and ultimately the destination for Jordan Clay on Friday? I don't know quite yet. My feeling all along has been it's Baylor till it's not, and I haven't gotten the sense definitively that it's not yet. But Oklahoma has made this thing really interesting down the stretch. So obviously we'll have that situation covered over the next few days at OUinsider.com, and we'll see where it leads. But it's going to be OU or it's going to be Baylor.
Yeah, and then obviously the 4-star safety DB, whatever you want to call him, Jacob Eberhart, who is just a behemoth of a human being at safety, by the way. Illinois, his dad played at Illinois. Let's just keep it real here. His dad played at Illinois. His dad passed away recently. So there's a lot of emotions that have gone into this recruitment that have been pretty heavy on Jacob Eberhart and his family. And you got to give credit. And I've talked to those closest to Eberhart, and they've said Coach Hall, Brandon Hall, the safeties coach for Oklahoma, has done a phenomenal job of just there's been no pressure. It's been you do what you feel right. He wants to do everything they can to honor his father. And with that comes a pull to play at your father's alma mater. His brother played at Ball State, was a good player there as well. But Oklahoma, it seems, at this time has taken the pole position. Uh, there's reason for OU to feel good about the situation, but I'll say this: as good as Oklahoma feels, and they've pulled away from the hardest thing was to pull away from the Illinois bit. But you had Missouri swinging there, Nebraska, Alabama, like everybody was starting to come after Eberhart pretty aggressively, actually. And um, if they can hold on here and it actually happens again, they're in a good spot. But I think coming out and announcing that you're going to commit to a program that wasn't his father's alma mater's, I think that's going to be the key, is seeing it verbalized publicly and done. That when you, I can't speak for him because I don't know everything they're going through, but from what I've been told, it's been a pretty tough situation. So uh, I say all that to get Oklahoma fans prepared for if it does turn and he does go to Illinois, just because you have to respect it. There's a reason behind it. The reason is his father. Uh, but I also say, as of now, Oklahoma seems like they're in the best spot. Doesn't mean that things can't change, but it's going to be an interesting next 4 days or so as it gets closer and closer to a his announcement date to see where that thing goes. But he set up his announcement date shortly after his OUOV, so that can't be anything but good if you're Oklahoma, if you look at it from that stance. So we'll see where that goes. I know you haven't played the game, Parker. I played it a little bit today. Just I think I got one game in just to kind of check and see what it was like. But yeah, it's. I'll say this: like the new college football 26 game. For one, the music in the main menu portion is a lot better, and it tells you in the bottom right, like what band is playing and what fight song it is. It'll like pop up,
Mm.
and then they have like, oh my gosh, the industry song that's so popular, that dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun.
Is it Spotify compatible? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I have to look that up
I've
potentially.
I've heard they were integrating that onto the platform so that you could play your own music via Spotify, which
Interesting.
I hope that's the case because I've got an EA College Football 26 soundtrack all ready to roll.
Wow, that is very you.
I do. I've been
Doing
sitting
that,
on
by
it
the
for a
way.
year. I figured there was going to be Spotify integration in last year's game, and there never was. So
That's interesting. I wanted to look that up. But yeah, there's a lot of like hit songs that they play at various universities and various football games that they play in the main menu portion. It's pretty
the
cool.
sounds of the game, if you will.
Yeah.
Good.
Not
Better
just not
than
just fight songs, but like
better than
actual.
Infinite Drumline last year.
Yeah. So my son Kato was talking about how he saw on TikTok where somebody just kind of opened and shut their microwave, and it did the exact sounds that they had in the. It sounded exactly like the portion of the main menu, the drum line in college football 25. So yeah, anything could be better than that. But the it's cool seeing the coaches in there as well. I don't remember the defensive coordinator's name. It was not a real person for Oklahoma, mainly because Brent
Jimmy
Venables
Green
is the
Beans.
defensive coordinator. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do that? That is set up so easy for them to
Oh
do.
man.
They ruined it.
It was right there. It was right there.
They ruined it. Softball. That's all they had to do is the Jimmy Green Beans thing. The color commentaries, like, bro, they talked. I played SMU just to see, and they talked about Jennings and his rise to stardom last year. What game he went into, how many, like, what he did throughout those games, what their record was, him as a starter, all that. John Mateer, him transferring over, what that means to Oklahoma moving forward, and why it was a big deal. Oklahoma hurt so bad as a on offense last year. Like, they went in depth with their color commentary this year. It was like you
Good.
were watching a real game while you were playing it. I was like, holy crap. Like, that's legit. That's awesome. They say the names far more than they did last year. Last year they wouldn't say the
Yeah,
names a lot of the times. They say almost all the names now.
that's good. I'm
It's
excited.
it's it's a lot better. It's a lot better. It's a lot more plays. But again, I've only played one game just because, I'm 42 years old and I have a lot more to do in life than play video games, but it was cool. It was cool. Um, is there anything else that we need to dive into? I mean, what are you looking forward to for SEC Media Days?
Oh man.
Jim Nagy's going to be there.
Is he really?
He said it. He publicly said, "I'll see you guys at SEC Media Days."
Okay. Well,
Well, does that make sense? Why wouldn't you bring your general manager? He's
yeah.
essentially running things. You bring your athletic director. Why not the general manager?
I would not say I'm looking forward to anything in particular at SEC Media Days. I guess the big thing is just going to be gauging reaction in the aftermath of Joe C's retirement and trying to, I guess, get some clarity on what the future holds in that regard and just, I guess, collect feelings, impressions, all that stuff. Like, that's the big storyline surrounding OU football all of a sudden here in the month of July. But I. I'll be the one to say it. Generally, you don't get a ton out of media days that's new and novel. And I would expect it'll be much of the same this year because everybody's going to be eager to talk to John Mateer. That'll be a huge thing, no doubt. But your other guys are R. Mason Thomas and Robert Spears Jennings, as I understand it, two guys that are stalwarts for this program and
Yeah.
have been for years. So getting to talk to Mateer, seeing what comes out of those conversations, that'll be enjoyable. For the most part, I wouldn't say that there's anything in particular I'm really, really looking forward to at Media Days.
I'm going to throw this out here, and I want everybody to remember I said this. When people ask, you know, what everybody's looking forward to, or who's been standing out and who's going to have a big year on the defensive side of the ball, I will wager a bet Taylor Wine's name gets thrown around quite a bit. I've heard that so many times this offseason already. I'm sure you've heard the name as well. It's been thrown around a ton. They expect him to have a big year. Seeing is
70
believing
overall
now.
in CFB 26, by the way.
Say what?
70 overall in college football
Yeah, I
20.
know. Bro, they have Jake Sexton 79 overall on that game. I forgot somebody else that they had just horribly ranked. And I think it was Gentry Williams. It's like, holy crap. Like, you're talking about guys that are probably going to get drafted at some point. It
Hmm.
just they did not rank them favorably. Hey, guess what? Before we go, we're going to let you guys meet the new commit. I know this is kind of out there in the blue and kind of a roundabout way to do things, but he just got done with his ceremony. He just texted me and said he's in the waiting room. He's ready to go.
Let's do it.
So we are about to meet four-star tight end Tyler Ruxer. Tyler, congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
man, you and I have been talking for a while.
Hmm.
It always felt like it was Oklahoma when we talked,
Yeah.
but what what kind of led you to that decision?
Yeah. I think what it came down to me is like I come up from a place where football is, just a priority or it's just, big. And everyone around here is big about football. And I felt like when I was in Norman, I could feel that same feeling of like football's in the air, like, it's a football town. And, it kind of felt like home. And then when I met the staff and how genuine they were and, the relationship I built with Coach Finley and the things that he can do for me as far as a developmental standpoint, it got to be a no-brainer that, OU would be the best place for me.
You may be the only guy, well, one of the only guys in college football that's going to be coached by a position coach who is not on Twitter. And
Hmm.
we've talked about the
Yeah.
dynamic a little bit with Joe
Yeah.
John, and obviously, he's taken some errors. It feels like everybody has coming off a 6-7
Hmm.
campaign last year for Oklahoma. But what is it about Finley? What is it about the situation at Oklahoma that made you so confident that, hey, these guys are going to get the most out of me as a football
Hmm.
player if I go
Yeah.
there?
And I think, like we talked about, just the fact that Coach Finley played at OU, he's passionate about the place. And just like talking with him, I can tell he's a genuine dude. Like everyone that I meet that knows Coach Finley, like only has great things to say about him as a person and as a coach. And like that stuff speaks volumes to me because I want to be coached by someone that is passionate, but also, is there doing it for the right reasons. And I think that, he checked all those boxes as far as a coach. And, as we continue to grow a relationship, like, um, you know, I thought it was key. Actually, so it was funny. After he offered me, I spent like 20 minutes trying to find his on Twitter, and I could not find it. I just, so I was like, I was so confused. I was like, does this guy not have Twitter? But yeah, no, yeah, he doesn't have Twitter, but I don't blame him with the way social media is and stuff now. Like, I don't blame him for staying away from it.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier on here, just this exact podcast about how, he told me he was just more happy just with social
Hmm.
media gone. Just well, he feels a lot more lighter, and he's, you know, landed two of the better tight ends in the country because of it.
Hmm.
And you and Ryder, have you and Ryder gotten to talk to each other quite a bit yet?
Yes, yeah, we have. So we've had a little communication back and forth, but I mean, I'm excited to, have the opportunity to play with him. I think he's a great player. And I'm looking forward to, and I think we'll do some pretty nasty stuff in 12-man personnel. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, I think we're gonna make a really deep tight end room at Oklahoma.
Hmm.
So you talked about the
Yeah.
12 personnel.
Hmm.
One thing we were remarking on right before you jumped on with us is the reality that both you and Ryder do everything, guys. You can do
Yeah.
all of what is
Hmm.
required of a modern tight end,
Yeah.
which is going to
Yeah.
enable OU to operate with a lot of flexibility as far as how they deploy you guys. But
Yeah.
when you got to sit in the film room on your official visit, how much did they really lay out for you? Hey, here's all of the ways we can use the
Hmm.
two of you in conjunction with one another
Yeah.
or independently or one another.
Yeah. And I think that you know, when we were watching film with like Coach Finley and Coach Arbuckle, they showed me a lot of 12 and a lot of just instances with me in the slot that I can use my abilities to stretch the field and make plays vertically and create mismatches on linebackers and safeties, which I think is in today's college football having the ability to be a mismatch always, whether a linebacker's guarding you or safety is huge and. Um, and I kind of feel like the way college football defenses are moving, it's going to more of a focus on man coverage and having a tight end can kind of break teams out of that. And especially if you can do 12 personnel at a high level, um, it makes it so that there's, two mismatches on the field and teams have to kind of pick and choose what they want to give up. Do they want to give up the run or do they want to give up the pass? And I think that's what makes me and Ryder going to OU so special because we both can do both. So if we get in 12 personnel, we can both, we can run the ball, but we can also air it out and, not lose anything by throwing it or running it.
You gotten closer, obviously, with Bo Bentley.
Hmm.
Um, how much did his decision play into your decision? Because I remember, I'll never actually forget this. The first thing you said to me was whether they have Jaden or Bo, Oklahoma is always going to have a good quarterback in their class because it's Oklahoma.
Hmm.
Did that play into your decision? One and two, um, who else are you guys trying to push for and get to join you right now? Like who is on the top of your list? Like, I'm going to make sure this guy joins me in
Hmm.
2026.
I think Bo was a big one for me. I have a good relationship with Bo. I'm And like I said, just the pedigree that OU has with creating good quarterbacks, it definitely helps because they're the ones throwing you the ball and running the offense. So I think that's a big plus with OU. And as far as recruits that we're trying to get, I have to get back with you on that because I've been focused on my recruitment here lately, so
Yeah.
I haven't really been paying attention to the recruits that OU has. I know we have a lot of commits so far, um, but yeah, I mean, and now that I'm committed, that'll be the next focus is getting other guys committed to come to OU.
Whether you had
No doubt.
chosen Oklahoma or not,
Hmm.
Tyler, how does it feel to be one of Jim Nagy's chosen? One of the guys
Yeah,
that Jim Nagy, with his decades of NFL scouting
yeah,
experience, was pounding the table for, man.
yeah, and I think that was big because of Jim Nagy's uh, like just his, he's been in the football game a long time, and he knows. He has years of scouting experience, and just knowing that he believed in me and he saw there's something really special in me and felt that I could be an impact player early meant a lot to me. And, he has a lot of faith in me and he expects really big things from me, which definitely helped influence my decision towards Oklahoma.
I told everybody when they get to see this, they're going to get to see one of the better interviews that they'll ever get to witness
Yeah,
and listen to when you come on here, man. You did
yeah,
not disappoint at all.
yeah.
You're always such a good interview, man. I really appreciate you coming on and congratulations
Yes. Thank you guys for
on
having me.
getting
I
this
really
done.
appreciate it. And I know was it you I talked about, am I the first player from Indiana to ever go to Oklahoma? I
No.
know we,
So actually, Oklahoma signed an Indiana kid just 3 cycles ago. Dave
okay.
McCullough. Yeah, safety
Ian
from
Yeah.
McCullough.
South.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
He was not at the program longer than one season. He wound up
Okay.
transferring to Louisville.
Yeah.
But
You're
yeah,
the
it's actually only
second.
been
Okay.
three
Yeah.
cycles.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you will probably be the first one to graduate and
Yeah.
play at
Yeah.
Oklahoma. There you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Not
Hopefully, man.
transfer. There you
Oh, hey,
go. There you
hey, knock on
go.
wood. Hopefully, man. Hopefully we
Yeah.
make it through. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Hey man, I appreciate you, Tyler. This is
Yeah.
4-star tight end, new Oklahoma commit, Tyler Ruxer. Thank you so much, bro.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me. You guys have an
Yes,
awesome
sir.
rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Take it
See
easy.
ya.
That was Tyler Ruxer. I mean, I told everybody he is a phenomenal interview. He has a fantastic personality. Parker, he doesn't disappoint, does he? Like he's on it when it comes to interviews. He is going. I could see him doing play-by-play color commentary, being a journalist when his playing career is over, just in how he operates. Could you not?
I think he's certainly got that kind of potential, yes. But hopefully it's a long while before he has to
Yeah, of
entertain the
course.
possibility of doing
Of
so
course.
because he's a really talented football player, number one player in the state of Indiana per the On3 Rivals rankings, and the latest addition to Oklahoma's 2026 class.
And that's gonna do it. I know this was kind of a we skirted around, talked about Ruxer, then got back around, but he was on his own little schedule, and we wanted to allow that because this is his day. So we really appreciate him coming on with us. But it was kind of a hectic podcast. It was a hectic day, so it kind of was, fit the narrative of today all the way around. But we want to thank you guys for being on here with us, listening to us. If you're not a member of OU Insider, I'm telling you guys, $1 for the first week. You pay $1 for the first week. If you don't like it, On3 is so easy. You go up, click, boom, you can cancel. You don't have to do it. It's the easy thing to do. Go give us a try. Join the thousands and thousands of OU fans already on there. If not, and you do decide, it is only $11.99 a month, or it's $109.99 for a whole year. And it is so worth it. I promise you. You get all the access to all the other sites as well. So it's not just OU Insider. You get access to every site. I think there's like, what is there, 130 sites or something like that on3. It's a huge, huge network. But you get access to all of it. All you have to do is go to ouinsider.com, sign up, pay $1 for the first week. Give us a try. If you don't like us, okay. But you gave us a try. We appreciate it. If you do, you'll join all the other OU fans that are on there as well. Boards hopping. It's a good time. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about on there. You get Parker and I every day. You get our notes. You get Brody Lusk with the men's basketball notes, which he's dropped galore as of late. You get Jesse Crittenden softball and his football coverage and basketball coverage. Like, he does it all. He is he's kind of our unicorn. He does it all. He plays the Iron Man football when it comes to journalism. He's on both sides of the ball. And then obviously you get Parker and I, and then you get Josh Mahler as far as baseball coverage goes. So you get everything covered on ouinsider.com. It is worth it. I promise you. Nobody beats the notes that we put up every day. I mean, day after day after day after day. And you also get access. We are the most easily accessible people you will see. We are on the board every day talking to you guys, communicating, being a part of the community. We're not just posting notes and dipping out and letting you guys fend for yourselves. We do it. We're a part of it with you, and we enjoy it. So go give us a try. $1 for the first week. Then it's, I believe, $11.99 for a month, or $109.99 for a whole year. Thank you guys so much for listening to this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast, powered by Riverwind Casino. For Parker Thune, my name is Brandon Drumm. You guys have a blessed day.